Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your man's DP. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be reacting to Game Theory, or the Game Theorists. This video is called Game Theory, Mommy's Secret Army, Poppy Playtime. This is the Game Theorist second video on Poppy Playtime, bro. I watched the first one, I want to say last week. It was interesting, definitely. They went into a little bit of the lore trying to figure this thing out, and they got a couple more videos, man. I'm interested in watching them, so... But yeah, man, Poppy's Playtime, bro. It's been fun. I just recently finished chapter 2. I'm about to start chapter 3. And I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. And without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Last October, Poppy Playtime came onto the indie horror scene and took YouTube by storm. Felt like everybody was playing it, theorizing about it, high-fiving it. High five.
Bro, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this game released a couple years ago, bro. Like, I didn't really get into it until just recently. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about chapter 3, which I've been wanting to play. But obviously, I had to finish chapter 1 and chapter 2. Both the chapters are fun. I think chapter 2 was way better than chapter 1, of course. It was longer, had more details in it. But overall, bro, like, the game is... It's pretty fun, bro. Like, it really is. I like to, I want to learn more about the lore about it, though, you know? But yeah, I think the game is fun, bro. It's definitely scary, man. And different.
Huggy. Boom!
High five. High five, buddy.
High five, buddy!
High five?
Let's go, let's go. High five, I missed.
So of course, when the trailer for Chapter 2 dropped a couple weeks ago, you blew up my Twitter asking for a theory. So for the last month, I've been digging through the trailer, the merch drops, the secret leaked closed-circuit television footage, all to come up with the answers. And regardless of whether I'm right or wrong about Poppy Playtime Chapter 2, one thing we know for sure, we're gonna be dealing with some serious big lady energy.
Oh, you big. Oh, you big lady.
Hello,
Oh, you
Internet.
big lady.
Welcome to
I'm
Game
asleep.
Theory, the show that may not be able to give you a grab pack, but will still let you high-five that subscribe button. And welcome back, friends, to Poppy Playtime, the one game to finally understand how terrifying old toys really are. Didn't really need a creepy indie horror game to tell me that all those American Girl dolls secretly come to life at night. Kirsten's unblinking eyes just pierce into my soul. Duh, it's too realistic. Hard pass. Last time we explored the old abandoned toy factory of Playtime Co., we walked away with two major predictions about where this franchise is headed. First, we concluded that some of the former employees were experimented on in order to create living toys. And not just experimented on, but that their flesh and organs were actively used as the materials to create parts of the toys. Some were willing participants in this, namely Stella Graber, who I believe is now the creepy living doll Poppy Playtime. Others were... less enthusiastic about the process, and as a result, the ensuing toy was just a wee bit less friendly. My second major prediction was that our game's title character, Poppy Playtime, wasn't actually the villain of the story, unlike every other horror game in existence, where the title character is always out to rip the flesh from your bones. Instead, here in Poppy Playtime, Stella's human desire to make children happy and live forever meant that, now reborn as a toy, she just wanted to escape the factory to fulfill those dreams. Because of this, I guess that she would serve as our guide throughout the facility as we tried to solve the mystery of the factory's missing employees. And hey, if you listen to the Chapter 2 trailer, it seems like we weren't that far off.
Terrible things have happened. Where do I even begin? You're in grave danger. She's watching your every move, so you better be careful. Mommy doesn't like guests.
That's Poppy's voice, definitely warning us of what's ahead, so I'm gonna personally consider this one a win. Look, I just gotta take what wins I can, okay? They're few and far between. So now that we've proven ourselves to be very clearly dialed into the storyline for Poppy Playtime, what do we think's coming down the pipeline for Chapter 2? Let's just say that Mommy Longlegs here is gonna be looking much different by the end of this chapter. But to understand how, we're gonna have to look a bit closer. Since she was the big reveal of the trailer, I think it's fair to start there. First and most importantly, yes, her name is officially Mommy Longlegs. I'm not even making that up to ride whatever weird trend gaming's having right now with large deadly women.
Oh,
This official
man.
name was actually
That is
revealed
crazy.
and I can't believe I'm gonna have to say this, but it was revealed in the NFTs that this game released. Feel dirty just saying it. Here's the thing, Mob Games, creators of Poppy Playtime,
Oh
they
my
made
gosh.
these things and they hid lore behind them, which is totally not cool. The only reason I'm comfortable talking about these things is because the fan backlash was so strong against it and they sold so poorly. Seriously, they made like 30,000 of these things and they only sold like 600. That Mob Games learned their lesson and they've gone on record saying that they are not going to do NFTs again. So I'm
What?
watching you. I'm gonna hold you to that. Anyway, in a completely
Yo.
awesome move, the channel Terraco bought one of each so that no one else had to and shared them all on his channel so everyone could see what they were missing. And it did give us important lore information. On the front of each card was a Playtime Company toy, and on the back was a corresponding date, which allows us to form a complete timeline of the toy's releases by Playtime Co. Poppy Playtime was the first, released in 1950. Brawn the Dinosaur was next in 1961, followed by Candy Cat in 1979. Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy were respective in 1984 and 1985.
Kissy
and
Missy.
finally, Boogie Bot was the most recent in 1993. This timeline actually reinforces our previous theory, probably the only thing to ever come out of NFTs, where we guessed that Poppy was the first major hit for Playtime Co. because of how eager Stella was to be turned into a toy, but that at some point the company lost the secret to her creation, which is why every toy that follows her becomes a monster. In addition to forming a
Ooh.
timeline though, the NFTs also ended with voice lines reading out letters, with the
Shoot,
last of
bruh.
the batch giving us
Hold
a
on.
previous theory, probably the only thing to ever come out of NFTs, where we guessed that Poppy was the first major hit for Playtime Co. because of how eager Stella was to be turned into a toy, but that at some point the company lost the secret to her creation, which is why every toy that follows her
What? The secret to her creation. She wanted to be the toy. What? These other people didn't want to be a toy. That's what it is, man. They couldn't find nobody else that wanted to be a toy. I mean, you know, kind of makes
becomes
sense.
a monster. In addition to forming a timeline though, the NFTs also ended with voice lines reading out letters, with the last of the batch giving us a code that we'd need to solve.
Y M.
I wouldn't want to be no toy, bro.
MLOMSIGS.
Assembling all the letters and unscrambling them, you get the phrase, Mommy Longlegs is coming. Yeah,
What?
definitely not a puzzle
No.
worth the $90 it takes to assemble all the NFTs. Again, huge shout out to Terraco as well as all the other creators who I saw do something
What?
similar with these NFTs and made them available to the public. Okay, so Mommy Longlegs is clearly our next big bad. A giant spider with stretchy legs, but what exactly is her plan? Well, let's think back to Chapter 1. In Chapter 1, we learned that there's been a series of experiments to create these monsters.
Coordination and cooperation is evidently within his skill set, as well as the skill set of all other experiments of his type.
Huggy Wuggy was the last, experiment 1006, but he was also different. As we saw in the game's first trailer in a split-second lore reveal, Huggy didn't need to eat in order to survive. Quote from the trailer, "Despite his digestive tract being wired properly, the prototype finds no necessity for sustenance, unlike the others. All other experiments can only survive while subsisting on much larger portions." And in this new chapter, it looks like we're gonna see these previous 5 versions of Huggy. Here we see ourselves
Only
having
Huggy
whack-a-mole
Wuggy didn't
against
have to
3
eat.
differently colored Huggies trying to crawl out of the pipes. Seeing how many empty pipes are here wouldn't surprise me to see 2 more variations crawling out. And just like we heard about in the tapes, these guys probably hungry considering that all the employees of the factory went missing 10 years ago. That is a long time to be waiting for a full meal. Mommy Longlegs is also gonna want some food. When she sees us in the trailer, she says,
A new playmate. It's been so long.
notice the slight head twitch, the change in her voice as she tells us it's been so long. Yeah,
She
seems
hungry.
unhinged and hungry. She's just hoping that we are quite
Oh,
literally
man.
a fly in a web, just like the chapter's title says. But if these creatures need food and lots of it in order to survive, then how are they all going after a decade without any visitors? Well, for that answer, we actually turn to leaked closed-circuit TV footage that was revealed as part of a past Poppy Playtime merch drop. Because let's face it, once you've had yourself a wildly successful 30-minute game gameplay demo for your horror concepts, not about winning over the audience's trust by getting a fully fleshed out, mechanically sound Chapter 2 out right away. It's about franchising opportunities, fam, NFTs, merch, plushies. Man, I'm just impressed that they showed enough restraint to work on the actual
That's
game
crazy, they got
long enough
plushies.
before the publication of their first novel trilogy. Anyway, when this merch website went live, it came with
I haven't
3
even
different
checked their merch
CCTV
website,
camera
actually.
feeds from inside the factory. We can tell that this is a live feed because camera 01's in the main auditorium where we first see Huggy, but Huggy is noticeably missing. So these feeds are clearly leaking after he tried to maul us to death in the vent system. In the beginning, these camera feeds were just kind of there, nothing all that exciting. But after 10 days, things started to happen. On camera 01, a broken and bloody cat bee toy appeared in the middle of the room. The blood isn't super surprising given the whole people are toys thing that we already talked about. Bloody toys were strewn across the factory in Chapter 1.
Yep.
The interesting part is actually what happens next. Another 3
Bro.
days go by and suddenly
When I had a massacre Mommy Longlegs in Chapter 2, bruh, she was bleeding everywhere. Head came off, limbs came off. I don't know what the heck that was. That it was like some type of like a garbage disposal or something, bro, or trash disposal, something like that. But yeah, she got torn to pieces, bro, and I was like, dang.
the cat bee toy is missing with a trail of blood leading out into the darkness. Around the same time, we see this image of a spaghetti hand coming out of the machinery. These details, plus the fact that we see Mommy Longlegs drag a Huggy Wuggy doll into the darkness at the start of the Chapter 2 trailer, tells me that the larger monsters are feeding off of the other toys. Remember, some, or maybe even all of the toys are made from people.
So
That's
she's
why
eating
they leave
Huggy
behind
Wuggy?
pools of blood when they're injured. As such, it can all serve as healthy snacks to keep Mama alive. In fact, we actually see pieces of brawn and Boogiebot hanging from the webs around the factory, much like flies trapped in a web about to be eaten by the spider. We also see this caterpillar enemy chasing us through a jungle gym setup.
Oh,
Wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised if Mommy
PJ.
winds up devouring that thing too, like a spider eating an insect. All of that just tiding her over until she can finally get herself a proper meal, us. But for all the spider imagery, there's one weird detail. Mommy Longlegs only has 4 legs. I mean, even my favorite Pizzaplex spider, Music Man, he had 6. But I think that her 4 legs act as a clue for what's going to happen to her throughout the chapter. Mommy Longlegs was clearly inspired by the real-world toy of Betty Spaghetti, a toy that was huge during the late 90s and early 2000s.
Betty
She too
Spaghetti.
had rubber limbs and hair that you could manipulate, but the key part was that she was customizable. And I don't mean that you could just style her hair. Her body parts and hair were actually removable and swappable. For instance, her ponytail could be swapped out for slinkies or yarn. And of course, you could accessorize to your heart's content. If Mommy is taking these broken toys and eating their organic insides, maybe she's also collecting the fabric and plastic bodies to create more limbs that'll make her stronger, add to her arm count. In fact, in the trailer, there's a small detail that I bet most people overlooked. There are these small little dots on Mommy Longlegs' arms and neck as she crawls
I
towards
definitely
us.
overlooked
It's not
that.
a rendering or modeling issue. That is just like the dots that we see on the Betty Spaghetti dolls. Dots that help with the toy's customization. In short, if you think that Mommy is threatening now, just wait until she puts on the rest of her arms and starts filling out those holes with equipable accessories, like a Boogiebot head that's ready to cave your skull in. Other things to point out here from the trailer, obviously the caterpillar, like I mentioned. There also seems to be a flower enemy hidden up in the ceiling. The Huggy we see Mommy grab at the beginning of the trailer isn't the Huggy that chased us from Chapter 1. You'll notice there's no blood on the floor, and
Thought
it's
it
small
was.
size relative to the size of the floor tile.
Yeah,
so
you know,
this
that's
thing
true.
is likely a
That's true.
random Huggy doll that's used for effect. But before we wrap things up here, there's still one more topic that I wanted to focus on today, and it's the character that we actually started this whole theory off with, Poppy. Well, the internet's been distracted with Mommy Longlegs. Poppy is still here, and she's talking to us throughout the entire trailer. And what she's saying, or more importantly, what she's not saying, may actually be pointing us to the main plot of not only this chapter, but the entire game. As I pointed out earlier, Poppy seems to be guiding us throughout the game, but just because she's helping us doesn't mean she's actually the good guy. Take a listen to these 2 lines from the
Right?
trailer.
You are perfect. Too perfect to
No, you know what? That's true. She's got to have some hidden agendas, bro. Because after Chapter 2, I guess we was on our way out with the train, and then she switched the train tracks for us to go right, and I guess that brought us back into the factory or something. Something like that happened, bro. I believe Poppy has hidden agendas, bro. We gonna figure it out though.
lose.
Poppy
We're gonna
saying
figure it
we're
out.
too perfect to lose lines up with what we theorized about last time. That she's the one talking to us throughout the death screens. It's not your time to die. Don't die just yet. It's too early to die. All these screens show us that Poppy wants us alive, but her reason for that seems unclear. Sure, throughout Chapter 1, we got notes and death screens that seem to be focused on us saving the missing employees. There's more lives at risk than just yours and all that. But in this new trailer, there's something uneasy about Poppy's tone. Something obsessive. It's like she's planning something that we aren't aware of. We theorized last time that all Poppy wanted was to be free out in the real world to bring joy to children. But what if we were only half right? Just because she wants to bring joy to children doesn't technically mean that she has to leave the factory. What if Poppy is trying to bring the factory back to life? At the very beginning of the game, we get a note telling us to come to the factory and find a poppy flower. But after finding the flower, all the literal writing on the wall tells us to not go in. Why would we get a letter from the employees telling us to find the flower only for them to then tell us to stay away once we actually get there? It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense if that first letter is from Poppy. Notice those spelling and grammar mistakes? That letter is from her. It was sent to us to lure us in. She wants us in this factory. She needs us in this factory. Listen again to her lines from the trailer.
You are perfect. Too perfect to lose.
She describes
Bro,
us
maybe
as
Poppy really
perfect.
isn't
In
on
the
our
death
side.
screens of Chapter 1, she calls Huggy wonderful. He's good, but he's not perfect. Poppy must therefore be aware that both Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs are the failed attempts to recreate the magic of her own birth. But someone who came back to the factory despite the horror stories? Someone who came back with a good heart that wanted to help those who were trapped? That is suddenly someone that she can work with. As far as we know, Poppy's the only experiment to truly work. The only toy that managed to not turn into a monster through the toy conversion process. And if she truly wants to spread joy to all the children of the world, it would make sense for her to want to restart those experiments, to turn the factory back on, to create more living toys like herself. But it all needs to start with one pure soul. It needs to start with us. That's why she doesn't want to lose us. Not just because we can free her and remove the obstacles standing in her way, but because in her eyes, we can become the new Patient Zero. We can be the Ken to her Barbie. My guess is that after surviving chapter after chapter of toy-related horror headed our way, in the end, Poppy is gonna turn on us. She's gonna betray us. She's gonna turn us into the next generation of toys.
You know
By
what?
winning the
That
game,
might be true.
we ultimately lose. But hey, while Mob Games wants you to invest in NFTs to unlock the lore of this game, with our sponsor today, Public, you could invest in stocks that'll give you some real value. Public is an app built to help you invest in the right things at the right time. I'm gonna be honest with you, investing was always really scary to me. I was raised by parents who taught me that you invested your money into your mattress. Literally, you hide it there. But what I've learned over the years is that you actually have to have your money working for you by investing in smart ways for the long term. Not anything super risky or speculative, but stuff that helps your money grow steadily over time. And Public helps make that learning process easier by updating you about stock performance and exposing you to a community of smart investors who can share their knowledge with you. Public isn't trying to turn you into a day trader or some risky stock market gambler. They're invested in your education. In fact, their app is free to use and there's no commission on any standard stock trade. And the best part is, you get a free stock worth anywhere between $3 and $300 when you go to public.com/MattPat, M-A-T-P-A-T, or just head on down to the link in the description and create your account. Still feeling a bit unsure? Absolutely get it. Trust me, I am also nervous about this sort of stuff, but that's why you can actually follow me on the app, at MattPatGT. That way you can see what trends I follow and we can take this little adventure together. And here's the thing, friends, I'm not going to be making a whole lot of trades. I just don't. I'm a long-term investor. I'm no Amaranth dumping $1 million into Google or whatever she does. I find a couple of safe stocks and I let them sit, let them grow. That's how it works for me. But hey, if you don't like my investment decisions, there are loads of other YouTubers on the app who you can follow for inspiration as well. So once again, make sure you go to public.com/MattPat or click the link down in the description to get yourself a free stock that could be worth anywhere between $3 and $300, but more importantly, is going to start educating you about something that is very important for your long-term investment portfolio. That's it. It's just one way of smartly diversifying your assets. Is it the whole thing? Should you dump all of your life savings into the stock market? Absolutely not. Do not do that sort of stuff. This isn't investment advice, but it's kind of general knowledge advice. Don't do that sort of.
Well, dang, bro. Honestly, that's crazy. That's a crazy theory right there. That might just be true. Like, I also feel like Poppy's gonna turn on us. We're just surrounded by enemies in this game. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll leave the link to the original video in my description, so you guys go check that out. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and peace out.